Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Bible Catholic channel here on YouTube. My name is William Hemsworth. It is great to be with you all. Today, we are going to wrap up the series on Ecclesiastes. Now, I want to be honest here. I've been really thinking about going chapter by chapter through this book. So if that's something you would like, please let me know. I'm praying about it because it'll take a lot of work. But if you're interested in a chapter by chapter take on this great book of scripture, Ecclesiastes, please let me know. But today, I'm going to wrap up our 4-part series with a word that helps us understand and unlock the meaning of Ecclesiastes. And wow, what a word it is. So, if you spent any time reading Ecclesiastes, or the Hebrew name Qohelet, which is the first episode of the series, you've encountered a problem that Christians, Jews, theologians, and scholars have wrestled with for centuries. Because the book seems pessimistic. At times it sounds contradictory. One chapter tells us to enjoy life, while another seems to question whether anything we do even matters. And so many readers of Ecclesiastes wonder whether the author, Qohelet, was a cynic, a skeptic, or even just suffered from depression. But I'm going to suggest something today. The key to understanding the entire book rests upon one Hebrew word. That word is Hevel. And so the word Hevel appears 38 times throughout Ecclesiastes, and it's introduced pretty much immediately in chapter 1. Okay. So I'm going to pull up Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 2. Vanities of vanities, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. And so that word for vanity there, let's dive a little deeper into that. This is the key. Vanity in English, that's the Hevel, but it means like a breath, a vapor, things like that. So that's the key. So let's go ahead and dive into that just a little more. And so for centuries, translators have struggled to capture the meaning of this word. So in various Bible translations, whether it's the King James, the English Standard Version, the RSV, or many others, many translations translate that word as vanity. The NIV renders it as meaningless, but neither of those words, so neither of those English words captures the richness of the Hebrew. The literal meaning of Hevel is a vapor, a breath, or a mist. I'm going to pull that slide back. Oh, it's spin up. Sorry, I thought I took it off. So, a vapor, a mist. Okay. That is the key to understanding this book of the Bible. And so let's go ahead. So, one reason that Ecclesiastes is difficult is because modern readers often hear the word vanity. And when we hear vanity, we think of pride or narcissism. But that's not what the author of Ecclesiastes means. And so, likewise, when modern readers hear the word meaningless, they often assume that life has no purpose. Again, not what the author means. So, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine walking outside early in the morning on a cold day. You breathe out, you see your breath. Your breath is visible for a moment, and then it disappears. That image is closer to the meaning of Hevel than either vanity or meaninglessness. And so Qohelet, the author, repeatedly reminds us that life is like a breath. It appears, it lingers briefly, then it vanishes. Life is real, life matters, but life is temporary. Now, while researching the word, I uncovered something fascinating. The Hebrew word Hevel is also the name of Abel in Genesis. It's the same word, it's the same spelling. the same pronunciation. And so for ancient Jewish readers, this connection would have been impossible to miss. So think of Abel's story for a moment. Abel was the first righteous man in Scripture to die. He was the first victim of violence. His life was cut short. From a human perspective, his existence seemed brief, tragically brief, kind of like a vapor, like a breath, like a mist that disappears in the morning sun. Yet Abel's story was not meaningless. God accepted his sacrifice, God heard his blood cry from the ground, and God remembered him. Now, this connection may provide one of the most profound insights into Ecclesiastes. The point is not that life is meaningless. No, the point is that life is fragile, that life is temporary, and life can disappear unexpectedly in the blink of an eye, just like Abel's. An ancient Jewish tradition offers some additional clues. The Midrash often describes Hevel as something lacking permanence or substance. And so one illustration compares life to steam rising from a stack of pots. You can see the steam, you know it exists, yet you can't hold it. You can't grasp it. The moment you try, it slips through your fingers. The image is powerful because it reflects exactly what the author describes throughout Ecclesiastes. Now, people chase wealth, they chase pleasure, they chase status, they chase achievements, they chase the things of this world. But when they finally obtain those things, they discover that they cannot hold on to them forever. Eventually, everything passes away. The Jewish commentary, the Zohar, which is a commentary on the first 5 books of the Bible. And yes, I know it's often associated with Kabbalah, but it's at its core, it's a commentary on the first 5 books of the Bible. It develops the image of breath, connecting it to spiritual life and devotion to God. And so while these interpretations differ in a little bit, they share a common theme. Human life is temporary and elusive. And the church fathers saw it the same way. Oh, hold on. I'm having some technical difficulties here. Give me one moment. Sorry, guys, having some technical difficulties here. There we go. For some reason, the internet froze on me. So here we are without my background. You know, that's all good, though. All good. So the Church Fathers, they inherited the Septuagint, which rendered Hevel as the Greek mateotes, which means vanity or futility. And likewise, the Vulgate used the word vanitas, which is where we get our word vanity. So as a result, many early Christian writers focused on the futility of earthly pursuits apart from God. St. Gregory of Nyssa, for example, emphasized the emptiness of pursuing worldly things as ultimate ends. He said anything detached from God ultimately fails. St. Ambrose took a similar approach. He argued that earthly pursuits became vanity whenever they distract us from our true purpose. The problem isn't creation itself. The problem is treating creation as our final destination. And so the church fathers weren't rejecting life. They were warning against making temporary things into eternal things. And so this brings us to an important question. Is there one consistent meaning of Hevel throughout Ecclesiastes, or does it change depending on the context? I tend to believe that there's a central unifying meaning. The word fundamentally refers to something vapor-like, something that's temporary, fleeting, hard to grasp, and beyond our control. And from that meaning flow other ideas like futility, frustration, mystery. Think of trying to grab steam with your hands. The steam is real, but we can't grab it. We can't possess it. The harder you grasp, the more it escapes. And so that image perfectly captures the author's message. Life under the sun often feels that way. We work, we plan, we save, we build. And yet, we cannot ultimately control the outcome. We can't stop aging. We sure can't stop death. We can't even guarantee tomorrow. One of the most famous verses in Ecclesiastes says, "Then I considered all that my hands had done and the toil I had expended in doing it, and behold, all was vanity and a striving after wind." Notice that imagery. Not merely vapor, but wind. Who can catch wind? Who can put wind in a box? Can we hold the wind? No, nobody can. Now, the writer is not saying that work has no value. He's saying that work cannot provide ultimate fulfillment. Only God can do that. One reason Ecclesiastes speaks so often about death is because death reveals the truth about human existence. Death strips away our illusions of control. It reminds kings, servants, you and I, that life is temporary. Yet Ecclesiastes does not end in despair. It ends with hope. After all the discussion of Hevel, after all the reflections on death, after all the frustrations of life, the author arrives at a simple conclusion. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. In other words, life is fleeting, God is eternal, live for God. And the saints echo this wisdom. St. Augustine, he said, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in you." He understood that all earthly pursuits leave us unsatisfied when it's separated from God. St. Francis de Sales says, "The same everlasting Father who cares for you today will care for you tomorrow and every day." Our lives may be fragile, but they're never outside of God's providence. St. Teresa of Avila says, "All things are passing. God never changes." If there was one statement that could summarize the book of Ecclesiastes, it is that. Everything under the sun passes away, yet God remains. So what does Hevel mean? It's not vanity or meaninglessness. No. It's the vapor-like nature of human existence. Life is real. Life is good. Life is a gift. But life is also brief, like Abel, like a breath, like a morning mist. The message of Ecclesiastes is not despair. The message is perspective. Enjoy your family, laugh often, work hard, love deeply, serve faithfully, but remember that everything in this earth is temporary. The only thing that endures forever is God. And that is why the author ultimately points us beyond the vapor and toward the one who is eternal. My friends, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this study of Ecclesiastes, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And I'm sorry for the technical difficulties I had a moment ago. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if it's helped you understand this book a little more, and if you would like me to do a deeper dive into this book, please let me know. I'm here for it. We'd love to do it on a chapter by chapter basis. God bless you guys. Have a great day.